Saint Lucia, mama, that's the land of my birth.
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, c'est vendredi, il disait, et puis temps pour Rum Shop Talks. You want some? So today, I made a special treat for you guys. Every culture that I've observed has some version of this, their fried dough, and St. Lucia is no exception. So our version of fried dough is bakes. And I got up super early this morning and made some for you guys. I even made saltfish. I don't know if you guys can see it in here, but it's like salted codfish all stewed with peppers and onions, and that's like my favorite way to have bakes. And so true story, when my husband and I were first dating, I brought him home and my mom had bakes, and I was like, wait, what is this? And I was like, it's bakes. Because of course I'm assuming that he knows exactly what this all is, and he also knows how to eat it. And he's like, how do you eat it? And I'm like, what do you mean? You just eat it. You know, it's like there's no special way to eat it. But I guess everyone has their own way of doing this. So this is what I showed him. This is how I eat it. So I took my bakes, and it's just like this. And of course, in St. Lucia, you do everything with your hands. You know, you eat with your hands as well. So, you know, it's like I peel it open like this, and this is what it looks like inside. And then you may create like a little pocket with it, and then you stick your saltfish in there like this. And that's it, voila. And of course, I made this for this man, and it became like his favorite thing. Well, one of his favorite things to eat. And if I make bakes and don't make saltfish, then he really is like, where's the saltfish at? Like, you know. And often enough, I'm like, you know, go to my mother's house if you want saltfish, because this is not what this is. I don't spoil you like that. But today they get to enjoy bakes and saltfish. And like with everything else I do on this Rum Shop Talks, I'm happy to show you guys how to make this. This is so easy to make. Just you make a dough, you let it rise, you form it into little balls, and you fry it. I swear it takes like, I did all this in 15 minutes this morning. Well, the frying part. So I'm gonna just like start our legal portion of today. And the question we're gonna be discussing was actually, I had a call this week from a client, and she had a trust and was looking to make changes to it. And one of the things that we discussed was the different ways that you can change a trust. So this like question is for people who already have an estate, a trust, not just an estate plan, but a trust in their estate plan, and they're looking to make changes to that plan. And there's two ways that we can do this. One we call just a straight amendment, and one we call a restatement, a restated amendment. And amendment, for you guys who don't know, it just means a change to a document. Okay, so I explained to the client that for her particular purposes, we probably would need to do a restatement. So I'm going to tell you what each of those two things mean, and then also when would we use one over another. So a restated amendment is where we basically keep the name and the date of an existing trust, but we update the entire language of the trust, meaning that the client walks away with a whole new trust, but has the same name and the same date of the original existing trust. An amendment is where we basically are updating particular provisions of the trust. It's a piecemeal type of update to a trust. And the provisions that we typically would change would be the trustees. So client has appointed someone to be their trustee. They've since changed their mind, or the person has passed away or is no longer a part of their lives, and they want to change that. We would do an amendment. A restatement. So that would be the situations where we would be doing an amendment, would be where the changes that need to be made are small and piecemeal. also, yeah, so if the client's looking to make a change to their like beneficiaries, for example, based on what those changes are, we will do just a piecemeal change. Amendment. Restatement. Client comes in with a trust from 1977. That trust has seen years, in fact decades of changes to the estate plan, the estate tax, changes to the estate laws. The clients' lives have like completely changed from what it looked like in 1977 to what it looks like now. A client like that, I would recommend a restatement. And pretty much, like I said, what we're doing is we're updating the entire trust. We're bringing it current, but we're keeping the name and the date of the old trust. So why not, in a situation like that, do an entirely new trust? Why do we want to keep the name and the date of a trust? In order for a trust to be effective, it has to be funded. You sign it, it's great. You know, you put it on a shelf, that's great. But unless you put assets, meaning like you fund assets into your trust, it is not effective. It is not going to do what you want it to do. So, where assets have already been funded into a revocable trust, we don't want to disturb the funding. And if we got a whole new trust with a whole new name and a whole new date, then we would also have to do all new trust funding. And so for a lot of clients, that's not necessary. So as long as we can avoid the funding part, keep that undisturbed, then we do a restatement. We update the client's trust, they get all new language, they feel all comfortable with how it works, but they get to keep their funding the same. So then what would be a situation where a client would want a whole new trust, considering everything I just said about funding? It would be a situation where we are changing the name of the trust titling. So for a lot of people out there, married couples, they like to have both couples' names in the trust. And if one couple has passed away, we want to create a whole new trust. Another situation would be the whole client passed away and you want to remove the client's name off the trust title, then we'd have to create a whole new trust to retitle it. One other situation is where couples get divorced. They had a joint revocable trust, they've gotten divorced. That trust, we would revoke it and it would give the client a whole new trust in their names with new trust funding. So those are two situations where I would recommend trust. So when clients come into me, we're basically reviewing everything that they have to determine what is the best option when they want to make updates. I actually had a client ask recently this week, when would be a good time to update his or her trust? And for most clients, the answer would be 5 to 10 years. You pull your trust out, you review it, make sure it's still current, make sure it still reflects your wishes. And if at that time you've decided that you need to make some changes to it, then you would go ahead and have that trust amended. As a I don't want to say general rules, but almost as a general rule, if a client comes in with a trust that I did not draft and they're looking to make changes to that trust, I recommend a restatement. And the reason why is because since I didn't draft the original document, I do not want to take the liability of saying that the attorney who drafted before me was correct. And so I only want to put the seal of approval on my own documents that I could stand behind if there was ever a situation for clients. So like I said, as a general rule, when clients come in, if they're not a previous client and they need to make changes, I recommend a restatement. So amendment, restatement, new trust. When would you get it? If you're making piecemeal changes, you do an amendment. If you want your trust is old and you want to update it, but you want to keep the name and the date of the trust, we do a restatement. And if you want to change the name of your trust, whether it's because of a divorce or because of a spouse passed and you want to retitle the actual trust, then we're looking at a brand new trust. Also, if clients lose their trust, which actually happens, if a client loses a trust, then we're definitely going to be doing a new trust to invalidate the old trust and to make sure that the client has a current estate plan. So that is my legal presentation for today. You guys know I don't like to keep you guys here beyond like, you know, usually like 10 minutes. So I like to just jump in and jump out. A few things I'd like to share with you guys. Next week, we are going to have a guest, and she is a mortgage broker, and she is willing to talk to you guys about anything you want. Her specialties are reverse mortgages, and so we can talk about that, but especially with what's going on in the economy. You guys might have questions if you're looking to enter the market, if you're looking to do a refinance, if you want to have an idea of what, you know, interest rates are with mortgages. Bring your questions. Actually, email me your questions. Put your comments below. We want to make sure that we make this productive and of course time-worthy experience for my guest. Her name is Karen. So like I said, let me know if there's any things that you want to know about mortgages, and if you just want to just listen to just general information about the state of mortgages right now in the United States, definitely hop in next week. I'm so excited because she's our first guest. I will see if you guys have any questions. So I'm gonna take a minute here. And of course, if you have like mortgage questions that you want Karen to answer next week, you can definitely put them in the comments here today, and I will forward them over to her so that she can address them. And of course, listen to my music while we do that. All right, it doesn't look like anyone's got any questions for me or for Karen. So I will say goodbye. Thank you so much for stopping in and giving me a little bit of your time today on your beautiful Friday morning. I wish everyone a wonderful weekend. It is Memorial Day, you guys. Have fun, be safe out there, and we will see you guys next week for another episode of Rum Shop Talks. Bye, bonjour.